So this is an example of Smart Notebook lesson for an English class. I'm going to walk you through what a typical English class lesson would look like. Obviously, I'm not going to do the instruction or the Q&A that I would with students, but I'm going to show you just what the layout of a Smart Notebook lesson would look like. So I always start with an agenda. This line is here so I can just write the date on the board and I don't have to worry about um, recreating some of my lessons. We'll just make it May. Because who doesn't love May? Let's make it 2020. So I would write the date on the board, of course, for students, and then I put the agenda. These are the things we're going to cover. Sometimes I highlight things or I put a star. You can use the highlighter feature in Smartboard as well. Like this is really important. This is something is if you use computers in your classroom, you may want to consider using images on pages when they can have their computers out and when they can't have their computers out. So this just depends on if you're a one-to-one school or not. Just an option for you to include. Then we always have our activity. So this is the picture of the computer, so they can have a computer out now, and they're going to work on their journal online. So it's a document, or it's a journal, or it's a website, whatever they're working on. One of the things I always like to do is I like to time them. So I would have a timer set. Smart Notebook has great timers in the gallery. All you have to do is go type in timer here in the search feature and then pick the timer you like. I like timer 2 better than the first timer. And then let the timer go. So the students have typically for English about 5 minutes, 5 to 6 minutes to write. And so their job is to answer this question as best they can. Now's an opportunity also for you as a teacher to go around, take attendance. You can check homework if you need to, or collect homework, or check to make sure everybody's turned in their homework. Sometimes you have students arriving to class late or coming with passes, so it's just kind of a great kind of work time for you. So once again, timer's going, and I'm using no computer yet. Okay, now for the journal, you can take out your computer. There's the computer image. And here's the annoying sound. So it typically wakes them up. Then, let's say today we had a quiz. Obviously, I'm not going to let them use their quiz, but I always write messages on the board. Yay for the Irish, good luck. So that's next on the agenda. They're going to take a quiz. It may or may not be timed. You decide. And now we're actually going to start our notes for the day. So I'm going to tell them to take out their computers, and they can either write their notes or they can type them. So topic today, Monomyth Hero's Journey. And then I would go through the lesson. Some of the things I do with my lesson is I do this feature. It's called Erase and Reveal. I take a creative pen. So I'll use this one. And I cover up part of the text. And then if I'm at the board, I take the eraser. And then I magically erase. And that erase reveals what I'm trying to say. So, ooh, what do you think same story means? Ah, one myth, monomyth, yay. So I use erase and reveal. What I love about having images on Smartboard is they're readily available to highlight on a Smartboard. It's so easy. I can draw on it and say like this, or yeah, let's check these off. So if I'm at the board, I can write a lot better, and I can analyze whatever text or notes that I have. I also use the drag feature. So if I'm up at the board, so students aren't trying to copy everything down at once, I can just take information and if I'm standing at the board, physically drag it across and say, okay, blah, 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 and then next point, blah, 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 blah. So they're still paying attention to that one thing and they're not freaking out about what's coming up next. They're just dealing with the one thing you're going to talk about until you're ready, and then you can say, okay, next thing. I also like the screen shade. This is the screen shade feature. It's the same concept. It allows you to drag down from top to bottom or left to right and just reveal a little bit at a time. So I don't want to show them everything. Let's talk about this, okay? And now we'll talk about this. So screen shade is a great feature in your lessons. You can also use an image to hide material. So before we talk about the belly of the whale, I want to ask, well, what is the belly of the whale? Where do you think this comes from? What do you think this means? So here's an image to kind of give them an idea, and now we can talk. And all I need to do is click delete, and now there's the notes. So you can hide it behind an image. To make sure that these things don't move, they're locked. So if you see right here, that means I've locked them. You want to lock things in place that you don't want to get moved or deleted. And then screen shade. So screen shade allows us to talk about certain elements. I love screen shade. And then I would keep, talking. There's still more slides to go if I was actually teaching this to you. But I'm just showing you the SMART lesson. Then at the end of class, now close your lids. Don't look at your notes. What do you know? Okay. So this is interactive from the gallery over here. So check out the toolkit. Great games and examples and activities. You can look at some of the samples that they've already made as well. But this is one that I created. So now that the students have done this, I'm going to get them up at the board. Usually they make a line at the board, and one person at a time, they click on it and they're like, oh, that's that. And rescue from without, their job is to put these where they think they belong. So you'll notice if it has a dot, 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 ellipse, if you click on it, it tells you the whole thing. So master the two worlds. So I'm just randomly assigning these. If it works, it checks it. And then it says, you were right, but you were wrong, 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 wrong. So you can reset it, or you can hit solve, and now they can all check their notes and make sure that they wrote the right stuff down. So I love having a check for understanding slide in my presentation. Oftentimes there are 2 or 3 in a presentation, but I always at least end my lesson with something interactive for the students. And then if you want, you can have like an exit card or anything else that you need to have them write down. Here, once again, there's a pull tab, so I'm pulling across information or answers as part of that check for understanding. And then I always go over the homework with my students. Even if it's in their syllabus or their course calendar, I always tell them, hey, this is what you have, and I have it one more time on the board. Basically, it's so everybody knows for sure what's going on. And I can say, oh, I'm sorry, but you had this information in like 4 or 5 places, so no excuses. And then, of course, I ask for questions at the end and anything else. Usually that lesson took the whole 90 minutes, or at least 75, so then I would have the students start reading, because they have 2 chapters of Edith Hamilton's mythology to read. And that is a quick example of how you can create a lesson in Smart Notebook and all the components that it can include. Thanks.